U.S. deficit is already over $1 trillion.
And Biden is set to sign his landmark $1.9 trillion COVID relief.
The American Rescue Plan, the close to $2 trillion stimulus package.
Time to check your bank accounts. The first of the stimulus payments started to appear in accounts over the weekend.
Republicans simply insisted that this bill was just too expensive.
During the COVID-19 shutdown, many Americans were left without a job. To amend this problem, the U.S. government utilized the American Rescue Plan Act, or better known as the stimulus bill. This bill was to help Americans to get a leg up on their bills and to be able to pay their rent. While many Americans needed this to pay their rent, when the bills kept coming in, many people took it as an excuse to not get a job. This bill has stimulated the economy, but how much stimulation will the economy take? Is this really having a positive effect on the workforce and economy?
The overall goal of any stimulus package is to put money into people's hands so that they can spend it to stimulate an economy. Lots of ways to do that. One is tax breaks, one is direct payments, others are increases in benefits program like Medicare and things like that, with food stamps to increase the allotments for that, or to give tax credits at the end of the year for people who need it. So there's lots of examples of stimulus packages. Some are more effective than others.
So I think that the increased amount of stimulus means there's more money in the economy, which means more people are spending, which means it generates a demand where the supply hasn't caught up yet. And a lot of factories were closed down during COVID too, so they're catching up on normal supply. And so inflation is key number one problem.
American Rescue Plan enjoys overwhelming public support because it addresses critical needs exacerbated by COVID-19.
Spent a lot of money, about $4 trillion. That's 4,000.
Already seeing the repercussions that people don't want to go back to work. People aren't working. The national debt being driven up.
0.00000000000 taxpayer dollars.
According to the National Conference of Slate Legislators, $1.9 trillion was distributed to the American people on March 11, 2021. This bill was sent by the American Rescue Plan Act. This bill and many other economic stimulus packages have greatly boosted our economy. But will our economy keep climbing, or is there an extent to this economic progress?
Well, on the economy, we're just seeing a lot more inflation. And inflation is, in some ways, is like a tax on everybody, because when you have inflation, that means prices are going up, and that means your wages are shrinking. And the people who can afford it the least, the poorest in our community, are the ones who get hit the hardest by that.
But now we are seeing the price hikes across the board.
Prices are rising at the fastest clip in nearly 40 years.
It seems politicians are divided on this bill. Is there apprehension for good reason, or is it just partisan bias?
It is supported by 75% of the American people, 71% of independents, and 60% of Republicans.
This bill was passed purely on partisan lines. Democrats support it, Republicans opposed it. And the reason for that, this was another $2 trillion bill. These are huge numbers. And it was wasteful. It was disguised as a COVID relief package, but the reality was it had a lot of very far left policies in it. And here's what we were concerned with. We said it's going to start inflation in our economy. And sure enough, Montanans are battling inflation. Look what's going on at the gas pump, at the grocery store, on real estate prices and housing and everything. The prices are going up.
I think the repercussions is what happens if we didn't pass the American Rescue Plan, which was passed early last spring. And you would have had businesses, local governments that would have been put in a real bind. We'd lost some businesses, we'd lost services. It would have had an incredible, would not have felt the positive impact on the economy that happened with the rescue plan.
The only thing bipartisan about this bill has been the opposition to it.
And so this was a radical far left wish list that was disguised as some kind of an infrastructure or relief COVID package, when in fact it was really, in my opinion, a bad use of Montana taxpayer dollars. And sure enough, now we're seeing big inflation numbers.
The vast majority of them, Democrats, Republicans, and independents,
support the American Rescue Plan.
This policy has been mostly beneficial to American citizens, but how should America be wise with its resources in the future?
I can assure you the economy would not be where it is today if we would not have passed the American Rescue Plan. It would have been far worse.
So to spend less money on those goods and start spending more money on going back out to restaurants or to entertainment venues.
Government cannot support the economy for any significant period of time because government does not finance the economy. It is the economy that finances the government.
Although there have been many different views on stimulus bills, could the impact of COVID on our economy have been handled differently? While the intention of the American Rescue Plan was pure to stimulate the economy, the issue of inflation as a result is affecting our economy negatively. The issue of inflation is hard to combat, but America was built on strength and fortitude. This is not the first time the United States has had a problem that needs to be conquered. We speak for many Americans when we say that we believe that with the proper dedication and regrowth, we can make our economy better and more productive than ever before.